guys, so I received a very exciting package today, and it is the sample printing of the Total Betty Goddess deck. So I figured I'd do a little live unboxing while Zoe enjoys her little scratch post next to me and see what we're looking at. I'm going in blind here, guys, because this is, just the test printing. It's specifically made to want to make sure that there's nothing that I need to alter in the layouts or the print design or anything like that. So fingers crossed that this ends up being a good reveal. And if not, I will be able to tell you what's going to be shifted about for the actual printing of the deck. So as we open things up, I'm going to try and keep the box out of sight because it's got, personal information on it. So, box is open, and we have the deck, which is in plastic and shiny and reflecting. So let's try and do that. So we have the deck box, which I've designed to look the lid like a composition notebook that's been decorated with all of your 90s memorabilia. It's the Total Betty Goddess deck, and if you don't know anything about this project, essentially it is my baby. It is something that I have had in my head for at least a year and a half now, and it is it's a goddess deck for modern goddesses, because every time I wanted to connect to an oracle deck that had something to do with goddesses, I could never find one that really resonated with my style. And so this deck is specifically to update and modernize the goddess feels so that it feels more relatable. So I've taken goddesses of antiquity and I've given them 90s counterparts to represent them in this deck. And that's kind of what the back of the deck says back here. It's the goddesses of the world have spoken. They want to do a makeover. No longer do they wish to be put up on pedestals or viewed as exalted subjects of Renaissance art. They're ready to show a side of themselves that you can relate to, a side that empowers and uplifts, making over the divine feminine from the inside out. Introducing the Total Betty Goddess deck, a deck of cards for the modern goddess inspired by real-life goddesses of the 90s. May the magic you find within this box help you unlock your own inner divinity. XO, Michelle Shea Walker. So this is the cover of the box. Let me take the plastic off of it. So exciting, so that we can get a little better view of it. And this deck is going to also have a guidebook that you can have the option to add on with it. So the guidebook is it's being written and designed right now. I wanted to get the cards in my hands to help with the process of writing the book, because I want it to be just as tapped into the divine energy as creating the deck was. So I'm going to use the actual cards to decide on an hourly basis or however long it takes me to write the descriptions to which one I'm going to be directing my energy to. And so pulling a card is going to be how I start to translate and figure out what goddesses come first in the deck. And so that's being written right now, but it is a part of the pre-order. So if you pre-order the deck in the link that I have below, you will reserve yourself a guaranteed copy of this deck, and you will also have the option to reserve yourself a copy of the guidebook. And I believe it's probably going to be a slightly discounted price. It's definitely not more in the pre-order. You may actually save a few bucks because I'm trying to make it a good deal. And then once the actual deck is printed and released in mass, the prices might go up a little bit. So if you want to save some money on the combo pack, definitely head over to that pre-order now. And we've got the cover, we've got the Total Betty logo, little composition notebook. We have a goddesses sticker, which is modeled after the Spice World logo. We have a Fem Fab World sticker, which is modeled after Six Ed World, which is a little Daria reference. And then I love the 90s. So I love the design of this box. This is the same box design that my fabulous teacher and inspiration for creating cards, Gabriella Rosie, she ordered from the same company. And I love the way that it just kind of like effortlessly lifts off, because sometimes when you're wanting to pull cards, you're like on a phone call or like whatever, you're doing other things in your life. And I like that it's an effortless opening of the box, but it also is really nice and sturdy. And then I got a little flash of pink underneath there. We've got the pages to our little composition notebook up above. Yeah, I'm really happy with how that printed out. So as we lift the lid off the box, we now have some little secret messages. So lift lid, unlock magic, and reminder, you are divine. And then on the bottom, I have a little plug for my website, and on the top, a little plug for the Instagram, because if you do order these cards, I definitely want to be able to see them in use in the real life. So I want you to tag me in those designs. So the cards themselves are inside the box. We have the backs, which are kind of a mirror to that composition notebook at the front, but it's a cleaner version of the composition notebook design. So there's not stickers, it's just total Betty. I wanted it to be something that wasn't too busy to look at while you were shuffling the deck. And let's slide this little shrink wrap thing off of it. So it comes really nicely packaged in like the shrink wrap around the deck, and then the cards are bound together with a little plastic ring. And then I have laid out this deck in color order. So when you first get the deck, another shout out to Gabriella. She did this with her Bad Bitch Affirmations cards, and I thought it was so beautiful. So now you have this nice little rainbow that you get to unfold. And I'm just gonna go ahead and show you a few of the cards. So we have Artemis, who is played by Angela Chase, aka Claire Danes in My So-Called Life. We have Thetis, played by Christina Applegate as Sue Ellen in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Little poetic justice action. Little Janet Jackson as Gunlad, who is one of the goddesses of poetry. So many of my favorites. We have, let's see, let's get to the orange. We have Themis, played by Ally McBeal, Callista Flockhart. We have Durga, little movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Christy Swanson. We have a little classic 90s reference with a little Jennifer Aniston with the Rachel haircut as Hera. Persephone as played by 90s Winona Ryder, because I decided that Winona Ryder was so 90s that we didn't need to give her a movie character to represent her. Ishtar, Harlot of Heaven, played by the ultimate hooker with a heart of gold, Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman. And of course, one of my favorites from the whole design process, Romy and Michelle as Eos and Selene, who are sister goddesses of the sunrise and the moon, so little opposing forces. And then of course the Fates, which is from the Craft. Of course, you can't have a 90s deck without a Spice Girl reference. So we have Ginger Spice as Jillian Goddess, little Drew Barrymore for our 90s Daisy Crown fans. And she is playing Babo, who I just thought was so clever, because Babo is known for creating the spring by making a goddess laugh by exposing herself to her. And, you know, 90s Drew Barrymore was famous for sort of giving a little lap dance to David Letterman. So a little shout out to her wild days. The Queen, Venus, as played by Alanis. Have a little Sex in the City shout out. Little Death Becomes Her, Isabella Rossellini as Isel, I forget her character's name in it, but you guys know who I'm talking about. Little Clarissa Explains It All as our storyteller goddess. And the movie that inspired the name of the deck, Clueless, the Total Betty deck, Alicia Silverstone, Cher playing Elvis. So again, that's just a portion of these little rainbow edition cards. The backs, you can shuffle them up. You can pick a goddess for your day. You can pick a goddess for whatever it is that you need inspiration for. My goal is to, as I write these descriptions of these goddesses, to make them as positive and empowering as possible. Sometimes if you dive super deep into the history of Greek mythology or any mythology, women aren't always painted as the most empowered figures. It's a lot of times the gods of the stories that are the more empowered ones, and I think that it's time for that makeover, that they're seen in a more empowered light. So I'm still giving a true interpretation of the goddess's energy, but if that goddess were to pull herself into modern times and become the most empowered version of herself, that's the energy that these cards hold. So I hope that this is something that you enjoyed. Let's see, what else do we have here? I have, just checking in. I have the book coming soon. The goal is that I will have these final edits. I have a couple cards that I might want to tweak. I might add a couple cards. Right now we have 44 cards, which I really like because there's the spirit number 44 and it feels like a lucky number, but I also have been feeling kind of called to have a number 48 for the cards. So I might add 4 more cards if they call out to me while I'm writing the book. And through that process, I'll finalize the card designs. I'll edit anything in these that needs to be edited in, and I will order the book and have those printed. Test run of that obviously first so that I make sure it's good quality for you, and then everything will be going out. So the goal is that I would love to have everything at least ordered and shipping to me by the start of summer. So June 21st is my own personal deadline to hopefully, I would love to be shipping decks out to people by June 21st, but at the very least I will have them coming to me by that deadline, and within a couple weeks after that, as they trickle in, I will be shipping out the orders to people that pre-ordered the deck. So a little note on pre-ordering. I know from my own personal experience, sometimes if I see pre-order in like the listing of something, I'm like, I'll just wait till it gets in stock. I'm not gonna worry about pre-ordering because I don't want to feel like I'm waiting an extra long time for it to get there. Let me tell you that this deck is going to be a limited printing. So what's going to happen is when I have my pre-orders in, when I'm ready to order the bulk listing of this deck, I'm going to order the pre-order. I'm going to order enough decks to cover the people that have ordered decks. And then from there, I'm going to pick whatever little bit of number I can throw on top of that to have a few decks in stock. But depending on where we are in the brackets, because if you aren't familiar, when you order something in bulk, there's usually like categories like 20 to 50 or 55 to 75. So depending on how many are ordered will depend on how many I have left in that bracket to send out to people that haven't pre-ordered. So if you think that you are interested in getting this deck, your best option to make sure that you get it this summer is to place your pre-order. So you can head over to the link that I have down there. It's also linked in my bio, or if you just go to michelleshewalker.com, Shea is spelled like shea butter, S-H-E-A. It's on the home page as well. It's literally the first thing that's gonna pop up when you type in that URL. So you can click on that link, you can make your pre-order. Again, you have the option to add in the book. Like I said, the book is going to be not only a guidebook to the cards, each of these cards has a little mini description of the goddess. Like Artemis says, nurture your becoming. So they all have little subtitles that's gonna give you a little idea of what the goddess's energy is about, but the book is really gonna be just like you would for a tarot guidebook. It's gonna have all of the description of like what I feel you need to know about this goddess if you pull this card, and the energy that this goddess is trying to infuse in your life. So that's going to be sort of your reference. And on top of that, like I said, my goal is to make the guidebook also a coloring book. So you will have the outlines of the goddesses on the page with the description, and they will not have any color or shading or anything in them. So it's a little art project for yourself, and it's also a really great way to sort of infuse your energy in with the goddess and to sort of honor the goddess. So if you like rituals, if you like honoring goddesses and doing some sort of thing to sort of bring them into your existence a little bit more, coloring them in whatever way strikes your fancy is going to be a beautiful way to do that. So it's, you know, it's a boredom killer, it's a goddess information packet, and it's also a reference book to these cards. So again, that's an option to add that on into your order with the deck. Ideally, I would love to send everything out at once, but if I find that the books take longer to print than the cards do or anything like that, I will happily do multiple shipments, because I'm not going to have people that ordered decks and books having to wait way longer than the people that ordered just the decks to get their cards. So all of that is coming this summer, and these are waiting for you. And I'll be doing some really fun stuff with these cards, with this sample deck that I have. I'll be doing some sample readings. I'll probably put a listing on my website just for a goddess reading. So you could have a goddess reading. I don't know if I'm gonna do them by email or if I'll do them as coaching sessions, but you can have a goddess session, which is centered around this card and around this energy, and yeah, I'm really excited about it. And you know, guys, if you like this stuff, if you like this 90s flavor, and these cards start doing well, I have ideas for clothing, t-shirts, all kinds of stuff underneath the Total Betty brand. So let me know what you want, let me know what you like. If you want to play around with these cards yourself, after you've ordered your deck or before you've ordered your deck, there is a post, probably like 5 posts back in my timeline, which has a little GIF that like just flips through all of the cards for you, and you can screenshot and kind of get your own interpretation of the goddesses right now in this moment before you have your cards in hand. And that's a great way to get to know them and play around with them before you have the physical deck. So I hope that you enjoyed this as much as I did. I am so excited about these, guys. So yeah, I hope that you're as excited as I am, but quite frankly, this is all I wanted. I wanted to have my own deck of goddesses that I relate to, and that has happened. So everyone else enjoying them is just the icing on the cake. So I am going to wrap this up now. I will probably post this video maybe sometime later in my Instagram stories or something like that. So if you feel like you want to go back through and kind of take a look at the decks, and of course I'll be posting photos as I take them of the cards. But I kind of hate to take them out of this pretty rainbow order, but I will, because that's what cards are for. So have a lovely rest of your day, and if you want a deck, head over to the link in my bio, head over to the link down there, and order your own copy.